Unit 6, Lesson 1, Simplifying Expressions. We're at the part where we're going to put it all together, the distributive property and combining like terms. Okay, this next slide, here we go. Here's our practice problems. There's only 4. And I've mixed it up to add some decimals and some fractions, so that way you guys don't shy away from those fractions, because they really aren't horrible. We know the rules for fractions, and so it'll be okay, I promise. So our first problem is 15 plus 1.5, open parentheses, y minus 5, close parentheses, minus 7.5. So I'm going to rewrite this and do the distributive property first. You do not combine like terms first, you do the distributive property first. So I have 15 plus I'm going to distribute the 1.5 to my y, which is 1.5y. And then I'm going to subtract, because my subtract sign is right here. 15 times, it would be 1.5 times 5. So like that. That's how I'm going to distribute that. I'm just going to bring down my 7.5. And then I'm going to go ahead and do what's the order of operations pretty much. Do what's in my parentheses first. And then I will be combining all of my like terms. So I have 15 plus 1.5y, and then I'm going to subtract 15, or 1.5, not 15, 1.5 times 5 equals 7.5, and subtract 7.5. So that's what it's going to look like, is just like that. So now I have different terms here. I have, and I'm going to change them in different colors just so you can see how this all works out. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to do this. Now remember, the sign in front of the term follows the term. So you can see with the different colors how it looks. So now I'm going to rearrange this so you can actually clearly see it. So I have 15 minus 7.5 minus 7.5. And then I'm going to add the positive 1.5y at the end. So now I'm going to combine my colors together. This is why I did it by color, so you can clearly see it. So I have, let's see, 15 minus 7.5 minus 7.5. And that equals 0. Because 15 minus 7.5 equals 7.5 minus 7.5 equals 0. So all I have left is my 1.5y. This right here, and I'm going to make it bigger just so you can see it, and I'm going to bold it, is my simplified expression. Because my blue section, when I combine this all, it equaled 0. And so my simplified expression is 1.5y. Okay? I am going to now work with, let me move that so that's not in the way, with a fraction. I have 1/2 that I'm going to distribute to 4y plus 18, and then I have a plus 2 at the end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do my distribute first, or distribute my properties first. Whoops, let me change that back to black so you guys can see. Okay, so I have 1/2 times 4y. Whoops, let me put these in parentheses, and I don't know why it's bolded, so let's take that away. And then I'm going to add, and I'm adding because of this addition here. I subtracted here because of this subtraction sign here. Okay, so I'm adding the 1/2 times 18, and then I just bring down my plus 2. I don't know why this is so big. Let's make this a little bit smaller so that way it can all fit. All right, so now I need to work my parentheses first. When you multiply a fraction times a whole number, you put that whole number over 1. So it would look like this, 1/2 times 4 over 1y. Now, with the 4 over 1, you take your top number, which is the 4, and your top number here, which is 1, and you're going to multiply them together. So 4 times 1 equals 4, and then my bottom number is 2 times 1 equals 2. So what I originally, now I have 4 over 2y. And I'm writing it out like this so you can understand what we're doing. I'm going to add that to, again, I'm going to put my 18, I'll do it up here, it's actually a little bit better, over 1. So 18 times 1 equals 18. 2 times 1 equals 2. And then I'm going to add my 2. Now, before I move on, I want to simplify my fractions. And I do that through division because the top number is bigger than the bottom number. So I'm going to divide my top number by my bottom number. So 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So that would be 2y. 18 divided by 2 equals 9. And then I'm going to bring down that positive 2. So there really wasn't a lot of confusion with this 1/2. The other way to look at it is when you multiply a number by 1/2, you're dividing that number by 2. And if you look at that, 4 divided by 2 equals 2. 18 divided by 2 equals 9, because that's half of 18, half of 4. All right, so now, just so you can see it, I'm going to go ahead and color code. And you don't have to color code yours. I just want to be very clear on what we're doing. I am going to color code that, and I'm going to simplify my expression. So my 2y still comes down, and now I have 9 plus 2 equals 11. So let me show you those colors so you can go ahead and see how that all worked out. And then I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. You don't have to change the size or anything of that. I just want you to be able to see that. So for the first two problems, we were able to then simplify. Here we have 2 terms, one term being 2y, the second term being positive 11. Here I just have a one-term expression, 1.5y. All right, so the third problem, we have a decimal. We're going to go ahead and distribute that in, and so I'm going to write that out. So I have a negative 2.5. Whoops, let me open parentheses and change this to be black so that way you can see it. And the size, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to distribute that negative 2.5. We're going to multiply that by negative 6y. I'm going to close that. We're going to add the next term, or the next grouping, to negative 2.5 times 10. And here I did the distributive property. I distributed that negative 2.5 to both of those terms. And now I'm going to simplify these. So negative 2.5 times negative 6, so 2.5, whoops, 2.5 times 6, and a negative times a negative equals a positive. That equals 15y. Plus, and now I have negative 2.5 times a positive 10, which is going to actually give me a negative 25. I can simplify that even further, where I have 15.5y plus a negative 25. I'm just going to go ahead and take that positive sign out, because in the end, I'm just subtracting. There really wasn't anything else. I'm going to do my color coding just so you can see the different terms, but there really wasn't anything else on this one that needed to be done except for taking that positive sign out and just leaving that negative sign. When you're adding a negative number, you're really just subtracting that number. Okay? All right, so now moving on to the last one. We realize that when we have fractions, if we have a whole number, we just put that whole number over 1, and we can then multiply our fractions. So let me go ahead and write this out. Let me make sure this is set up right, because this one is a little bit longer. So I'm going to distribute my 2 over 5 into my parentheses. So my first one, whoops, why is that red? That shouldn't be red. That should be black. There we go. 2 over 5 times 25y. I am going to subtract because I have a subtraction sign in here. So minus 2 over 5 times 50. And then I'm going to bring down my last term over here, which is 25y. Now I'm going to work my fractions. Again, you're going to put your whole number over 1 to multiply your fractions. So the top numbers, 2 times 25 is 50. 5 times 1 is 5. So I have 50 over 5y minus 2 times 50 is 100. And then my bottom numbers, 5 times 1 is 5. And then I'm just going to bring down that last term, 25y. I'm going to simplify my fractions by dividing because my top number is bigger than my bottom number. So 50 divided by 5 is 10y. 100 divided by 5 is 20. And then I'm going to bring down that last term. All right, so now I need to make sure that you guys can see the different terms I have here. So I'm going to color code my terms. Again, the sign follows the term that's behind it. So I have 10y plus 25y, which gives me 35y when I add 10y plus 25. And then I have negative 20. And that is the simplified version of this expression up here. If you have any questions, let me know, but please make sure you're watching the videos. Again, the fractions, don't be afraid of them. Just work your fractions. You guys know the rules to your fractions. When multiplying them by whole numbers, you put that whole number over 1, you multiply the top numbers, you multiply the bottom numbers, then you simplify your fractions. If your top number is heavier than your bottom number or bigger, you're going to divide that top number by that bottom number to simplify that fraction. So look over these steps. If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I will be asking that you've watched these videos because this is the way it's happening in class. Exactly how as you were walking through the video at home. But that doesn't mean you don't have questions. So when you do reach out with a question, please make sure you're very specific. By just stating, I don't understand how to do the lesson, that's not helpful to me. I can't help you unless you're specific in your question. I do not understand, Ms. Young, how you went from this step to that step on this problem. If you explain it like that, then I can go ahead and go back to that problem and I can explain it a little bit better. Screenshots are also helpful when you're emailing me. Take a screenshot of something, send it to me, show me your work because I'm not just going to start from scratch. Show me where you're stuck. So take the screenshot and show me where you're stuck. And then I can go ahead and guide you further. And again, I hope you guys are having fun with simplifying expressions because it is very helpful in math later on, especially when you get into 8th grade.